single-use products, disposable products, are not sustainable. And I do believe that there's going to be a real kind of mindset change, a behavioural change.
Welcome to the Tales to Inspire podcast. Before we get started on this episode, I would like to invite you to our community so that you can hear more stories to inspire change within your life and positive change within the systems in which we live. All I want you to do is to click on the subscribe button. Your comments mean the world to us with anything that's resonated with you, and I absolutely love your support. I can't wait to go on this journey alongside you. Thank you so much for subscribing. Let's get into today's episode. I would like to say a huge thank you to today's sponsors, the Better Business Network. Now, we have been part of the Better Business Network since its founding in 2020, and we absolutely love being a member and what that provides. The network is an inclusive nationwide community for purpose-driven businesses, for those who care about their social and environmental impact and want to do something to support the world in which we live. They help you grow your impact, income, and audience while advocating for systemic change. They give you access to events, tools, resources, and training to upskill your organization to ensure that you don't leave any gaps towards the world that you want to live. They provide events, tools, resources, and training to upskill your organization towards supporting you on your journey towards being a better business. To find out more about the network, head over to thebetterbusiness.network online. Today, our bite-sized episode is with Bea Thackeray.
My name is Bea Thackeray. This is my tale to inspire.
Bea, sustainability. Why is sustainability important to you?
Well, I look at sustainability from a product design point of view because that's my background. I can't help myself. So yes, I do think that as designers we have a responsibility of what we produce, because what we design gets made, sold, people are going to use it. We should really think about what is it we're making, what resources we're using to make that product, what materials we're using. Can we cut down on the amount of material on the packaging? My packaging is my main thing. And also, what are people going to do with that product? How are they going to use it? And can they repurpose it? Or are they going to just throw it away at the end of the day? So what happens to it when it's thrown away? So those are the things that really sort of motivate me in terms of sustainability.
So then what's sustainable and what isn't? Like, humans are great at justifying things. We're brilliant. I do it all the time. It's all right. My diet's starting on Monday.
Yes.
It's only Tuesday now. But what's a justification, or what's the that is sustainable and that's okay, as opposed to this isn't?
Simple answer: single-use products,
right.
Disposable products are not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that there's going to be a real kind of mindset change, a behavioural change in the public conscience, because the governments are already banning certain single-use items like plastic straws, plastic cups and knives, forks. We're seeing those already disappearing. So it's kind of a matter of time before that starts to permeate into other areas. So and also something that you can repair, because that is a huge issue, isn't it? And you buy something and it falls apart and you can't, the battery or everything is actually part of the component. You can't get into it, you can't repair it. So it's what I would say bad would be single-use, disposable and non-repairable.
In terms of the industry that you're in and how sustainable it is right now, on that scale, where do you feel like we're at right now, and which direction do you think it's going?
Well, I'm hoping it's going in the right direction.
Right, okay.
There's legislation coming around the corner that is making producers of packaging responsible for what they produce. In the EU, they're already bringing in laws on repairability, so everything that's designed and produced has to be repairable. Okay. So I think there's a lot coming down the pipeline, and we're already seeing lots of plastic in the shops already starting to diminish. I mean, I've always sort of go around the shelves at Easter looking at Easter egg packaging, and it's always really upset me when you've seen all the plastic inserts and and then it's just a hollow piece of chocolate. in a massive box. But I've noticed this year a lot of the plastic has gone, that a lot of the big brands are producing plastic-free packaging. And they've not even got windows on, it's literally just the photo of the product on the front. So you can see that it's starting to happen in a good way.
The penny is finally starting to drop.
Yeah,
but isn't it true that, like, I see so much plastic around, like, bananas? Why do I need plastic around bananas? They're protected. Like, what are you doing putting plastic around them? Like, there's certain things and you just think it's absolute madness.
Yeah.
Like,
Carrots. I always have to take carrots straight out of the bags when I bring them home because they just start to sweat. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about this, I grew up in the 70s, so I can sort of remember a world before all this came in. And I used to get sent to the local grocers to buy fruit and veg. And the guy would be there surrounded by a whole array and a sort of weighing scale, like a metal dish. And you'd ask for all the different weights of apples and whatever. And he'd weigh it all, pour it into a paper bag, and he used to do this trick. He used to spin the edges. And if you bought potatoes, he would literally just pour them into your bag. So there was like no packaging at all. So I've kind of, in my years, I've seen those things, the advent of supermarkets and convenience. But the one thing that I find quite irritating is seeing how plastic, for an example of sort of multi-packs of tins, whatever produce it is you're buying, used to be wrapped, some of them still are wrapped in like a plastic sleeve. Yeah. And now they're being wrapped in paper sleeves. So are we actually replacing one material with another? And it doesn't really make sense. Why can't we just buy 4 tins at a reasonable price, then have all that sort of multi-purchase that has to be packaged? So
I feel like we get lost. Like, supply chain is something that I get lost on. If I wanted to know where my food comes from, how hard is that to find out? If I'm trying to figure out where everything is, and then if I want to know where the material for that food has come from that it's been packaged in, you've just basically set the impossible task because no one wants to give it. If it's done right, people showcase it. They put a QR code on. They say this is sustainably packaged. They say these kind of things. Yes. If it's not, they say nothing. Yes. And they make it really hard for you to find out.
I think that's across the board with everything.
Yeah, that is true, right? Yeah. I mean, ingredients that are in the food as well. Sometimes it's like you don't even know about that. Yeah. But sometimes I feel, I don't know about yourself, but sometimes I feel like it's this. We're doing amazing, and then I read an article or something comes out, and I'm like, oh no, I feel so deflated. Like, has anything changed? So from an individual point of view, working in the sustainability space and having such a purpose, how do you navigate that from a personal point of view in terms of where you're at?
In terms of my design work or my personal?
No, in terms of your personal side of things, in terms of like your motivation, do you feel like you're doing the right thing, or what's the point? How do you feel inside of that?
No, I never feel what's the point.
Okay.
I suppose as a designer you're always looking at ways of doing something better. So you see something, you think, oh, that could be better. So I have quite an optimistic outlook. I think I'm an optimistic person in general. So I like to take that approach, really.
No, I think that's so important. And let's go about that right then. So then you've talked about always looking for an opportunity, or seeing something as a designer, always being a creative, essentially always looking for a solution in a time where there may be a problem. Yes. Is that something natural, or is that something you've always had?
It's not something I've learnt.
Is it not?
It's not specifically. I think probably, part of my design training, I trained as a graphic designer, so there was a lot of problem solving as part of that. So you'd have a brief and there would be a problem to solve within that brief. So I suppose it will be an element of training and an element of curiosity, and just a mix of the two, I think.
So in terms of the wider community and how that looks, just in terms of the wider community, what are your thoughts on that in terms of what we're doing with sustainability?
Again, I look at it from a business point of view.
Yes.
And I do see that a lot of the change comes from micro businesses, small businesses that are doing some really exciting stuff. because we're able to pivot, we're able to experiment. And yes, I've seen some amazing products coming up using different sort of waste materials. So there's a lot of innovation out there, and I think, you know, if industry pays attention, then there are solutions to a lot of issues from really product development and design, even from how do we stop plastic going into the sea through rivers. You know, there's some amazing innovations out there on every level. So.
Do you think that's because the micro businesses and the individuals, because that it's easier for them to adapt because they're smaller?
Yes, very much. I think being more nimble and maybe, just having the room to experiment and push boundaries and just say, just try new things.
As humans, I always often think that big businesses have it covered. They know what they're doing and they've got it sorted in terms of certain things. And I often get asked to go into big organisations and they'll ask, how can we do this better? And I'm like, that's the most simple thing. I can't believe you're not doing that right. Like how, and it's, for me, it's to remember that even big businesses or whoever that is or systems, they're built of people.
Yes.
And I am one person, but they're built of people. So there's definitely an opportunity for us to connect and learn, no matter how small your business or how big your business is, from each other. So as an industry and as a community, learning from the micro businesses and organisations is key, I guess, towards a more sustainable future.
And possible collaborations as well.
Yeah.
That would be awesome, yeah.
Well, it's kind of that difference in the way you look at competitors, I guess, is actually that person may be in the same market with a different product, but because they've got that purpose and value, you can build those, like you said, collaborations or partnerships towards the future that you both want, because you've got those matched values.
Yes, I'd like to think so. That would be fantastic.
I mean, people often say to me, you're supporting other podcasts, people doing what they're doing, or you invite them to come down and learn about what you're doing. I'm like, if they want to make a difference and they've got values that I can get on board with, why wouldn't I want? There's enough room for all of us.
Yes.
You know, there's so much room. So why not create a space where we can do better and do more good all together?